What's up, everybody? So I had a little accident at work with my nose, so it's kind of got like a red thing on it. Nope, it's not too distracting. Anyway, so let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Blessed be. My name's Mannun, and you're watching Witch in the Working, where we will be discussing all things witchy in and around, throughout and about, above, below, and beyond. So recently I've started doing this YouTube channel. I think I started in early April of 2020 this year. I've been studying the craft for going on 30 years, and I can tell you that I have a lot to learn going forward. And what's beautiful is, in fact, that I am constantly learning, as well as teaching the craft and other occult matters. One thing I've seen, especially since our friend social media has become popularized, is the unbelievable, unadulterated, ego-driven, witchy souls that placate the social waves, poisoning individuals with their holier-than-thou attitudes towards like-minded individuals, just trying to learn a little something and better their lives. Why? Why is this even an issue? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some of these elites. So let's get into it. Roll the intro. Welcome back, everybody. So the world of the occult is a huge undertaking, to say the least. There's a ton of subject matter to scour through and never-ending sources that attempt to break these things down to an understandable and meaningful topic to be soaked in by both the novice and experienced alike. From techniques of magic, Witchcraft 101, ceremonial magic, occult how-tos, paganism in its many forms, sabbats, tools, spells, rituals, etc., etc. The list, it really goes on forever. One can be sure to find what they're looking for, especially with the internet at our beckoning call or a keystroke away. And these are super exciting times to be a seeker, so to speak, as so much has been discovered and new discoveries and uncoverings are happening all the time within the occult world. And we have an all-access pass to gather, absorb, and utilize these eclectic and sometimes esoteric tools. In this day and age, we're in a circumstance where the world is an open book and people's minds are opening to new ideas and systems that for many years prior to the relatively present times have been taboo in nature and frankly ignored or flat out rejected by society in general. 50 years ago, typical society turned its nose up to the thought and mention of the occult in its many forms. In most situations, the mention or discovery that one might be a witch, for instance, would have been met with giggles and criticism, and in most extreme situations, even life-changing developments or even violence. Fortunately, or unfortunately, however you see it, technology has closed the gap on the misunderstandings and falsities that had been developed by outside organizations and institutions, painting a misleading and flat-out bullshit picture of the majority of the occult world today. Even Hollywood has been full force putting out content for entertainment that doesn't necessarily portray the occult world in a bubble of accuracy, but I personally, when done in a positive light, of course, accept and appreciate some of these efforts because they do in fact open doorways to the curiosity of individuals, causing them to possibly look into a particular subject or theme they may have never previously been able to experience without the help of said media planting that proverbial seed, so to speak. Even if something portrayed in a TV program or movie that is completely off basis, I have faith that many of us take it with a grain of salt, realizing the entertainment industry doing what it does best, but in turn causing one to spark an interest and then turn to the internet, book, and or other of the many sources available today, and find the accuracies and truths about a particular subject. Now, I do understand that some of the truly unwavering and staunch, close-minded individuals will be the spite and criticism of a particular idea or system, but in the big picture, I personally believe the more open-minded will, in general, bring about a positive perspective and pose a generalized positive curiosity to the masses. In other words, a movie or television program is released to the general public and some inaccuracies are portrayed for entertainment value in this movie or program, but it's okay because the overall content of the program drives people to investigate the generalized subject matter, therefore causing said seeking individuals to learn the overall truth of the tainted subject matter. Almost in the thought of any publicity nowadays as good publicity. So in essence, regardless of how the individual was guided to the occult-based subject matter, once they got there, even if by inaccurate means, they went there to learn the truth and the light of the subject matter. Again, in today's day and age, in many cultures and countries around the globe, eyes are opening and what was normally considered quite taboo is now becoming accepted, and not only accepted, but actually embraced wholeheartedly with open arms. Example. Witchcraft, at one time considered a social taboo, lately on the large part has been gradually and exceedingly socially acceptable by many. Not by all, but in comparison to its brutal history, nowadays it's doing quite well with thousands of texts being written on the subject and distributed to thousands of marketplaces for the masses. All of this in the last very short 50 or so years. I mean, 300 years ago, who would have thought? So in light, the occult sciences, religions, and crafts around the world are gaining popularity and attention, positive attention nonetheless, by leaps and bounds as the years go by and we progress as a species experiencing awakening and opening of closed-mindedness, or hope to progress as a species anyways. Now, the occult in all of its many shadows, twists, and turns has been around and in people's minds and views for centuries, though it has been again taboo for many throughout these years, but nonetheless, practiced by thousands around the world in all of its many forms. So here we have multiple schools of thought that have been lying in shadows for centuries and are just now being shown light upon, bringing them back to the attention of the masses. This is awesome, especially to us occult-driven minds who drink this stuff in on a daily basis in search for that missing piece to bring us the balance, enlightenment, and discovery of our true selves. We as seekers take on many different levels of literary existence. There are children to senior citizens that decide to study these mysteries in whatever shape and form their heart desires in every age in between. There are so many diversities of persons from multiple countries and cultures that study the mysteries, so diverse as to compare them to as many types of fish in the sea. The bottom line is, there's a shit ton of people from all over the world with different educational levels, from school children to college professors and beyond, that are in fact teachers and students of these mysteries and everything revolving around them. Fact. We are all students and we're all teachers. If you in fact do not agree with this statement, then shut the video down now, because moving forward is a waste of both of our times. Did you decide to turn off the video at this point? Please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear why you're not a student and a teacher both. So herein we start to get into the meat of my video subject. In my experience on this journey of seeking and learning, I'm utterly amazed at the amount of discord and negativity that is bounced around on open forums of social media today. Again, we all have different levels of knowledge and education when it comes to occult studies and worship. Some of us are mere children, and some of us are seasoned professors of science, and again, beyond that, even anthropologists, historians, or theologians. There are some of us that are in established traditions of one system or another, and some of us that dabble and work as eclectic beings, inching their way through streams of knowledge, just trying their best to fight against the oncoming flow of informational current. We're all at different levels of where we are, knowledge and experience-wise. However, we are all the same when it comes to the fact that we're all seeking and learning all the time. So with this being said, why do so many peoples criticize, bash, harass, belittle, and flat out bully our fellow seekers of enlightenment? I mean, we're all floating in the same boat on the same journey to new lands. What's the point in trying to sink the other guy's boat? We need to get there together. The destination of knowledge and truth is a group effort, not a rogue endeavor. The more minds and hands that are in the pot, the better off we are in the search and attainment of new knowledge and understanding. Now, some of us are more advanced than others. I get this, but that does not give the more knowledgeable person the right and go ahead to belittle someone who doesn't quite know as much. I mean, I've literally seen peoples who have just recently picked up their first book on Wicca, for instance, only to ask for advice on what they thought was a helpful social media platform to get completely obliterated and berated for asking a question and trying to learn. What makes matters worse is that the people's bashing this beginner were in fact seasoned witches of 10+ years experience who were in fact quite knowledgeable of their practice. In my opinion, this type of behavior is unacceptable, ridiculous, and on behalf of fellow occultists and witches around the world, flat out embarrassing. Who the f do you think you are? I myself have come under fire recently for an episode or two I've done for my Witch in the Working platform. Once I shared these videos with the public, I've been in fact bashed on the level of being told to please stop with my shitty, horrific, uninformed videos and ultimately go back to school. On top of this person had a specific entourage that backed him up with the insults and absolute nonsense. I kindly took the higher road and asked these persons, well, what exactly was it that I was, misinforming about? They wouldn't tell me, and in fact, I was only told that I would have to pay them money for them to let me know. In the end, it was the mispronunciation of a word. All of this because of a mispronouncing of a name. And on top of this belittling and abuse that I received was coming straight from a college professor and a professional anthropologist, and his friends, of course, that support his attitude towards others. I mean, let's replay this scenario. Why can't a fellow occult practitioner, hell, a fellow human being, maybe respond to something they see wrong in a blog or a video log or an article, what have you? Why can't they just say something like this to somebody who's made a mistake? Hey, I appreciate your work, love your passion, good stuff. I did notice that you pronounced said person, place, or thing incorrectly. It's actually pronounced like this, for your information moving forward. What was so wrong with that? No berating or belittling, just constructive criticism. And to make matters worse, these persons tend to stick together and really let you have it. I mean, like they form a sort of group to support each other's bashing. And again, this coming from mature, respected adults. No one is perfect, and I got news for you intellectuals out there. Information, especially historical data, changes all the time and flip-flops back and forth on a yearly basis. I mean, if I had $1 for every time eggs were good for your cholesterol and then bad for your cholesterol a week later, I could retire rich. I just have to ask why. Why is it so important to stand up on that soapbox and scream to the top of your lungs, "Oh my goddess, this person has just made a mistake. What an idiot. What a moron. Everybody come on, join in, look at this idiot who made a mistake. Holy crap. Quick, light up the idiot signal. Call in reinforcements. We have a legit mistake that happened here. Oh man, I've been waiting a week for this to happen, and finally I get a chance to stand on my soapbox and make myself known by calling this idiot out on his honest little mistake." I mean, are you people listening to yourselves? Does it really make you feel like a bigger person to bully someone for making a mistake? Do you ever make mistakes? Please let me know in the comments below if you have never made a mistake and you are in fact a perfect human being. And what really gets crazy is that unfortunately some of these people, these trolls, I believe the word is for them, will fight you to the death on why it's okay for them to be a troll and belittle you. This is my favorite, and just a little explanation of the word troll, because I don't want anyone to think I'm attacking a person by calling them a troll. The reason the label of troll comes into play in this situation is because these aggressive attacking persons literally hang out and, quote unquote troll in a certain social media setting, literally waiting for someone to ask a logical, respectful question or state an opinion or piece of fact and that they've discovered. Upon doing this, they look for an opening to be able to jump up and scream insults so that they themselves can be heard by others using the victim's ideas, beliefs, questions, or concerns against them. I can only say, in my opinion, that they must do this like a pack of starving wolves or circling sharks, so to speak, because they do not have maybe they don't have the capacity to form their own ideas and or opinions, beliefs to put out some useful, constructive content themselves. I haven't figured it out yet, but so instead, they ride the coattails of their victims, awaiting an opportunity to strike. What an incredibly useful and constructive utilization of your time and energy. And I am completely being sarcastic, of course, when I say that. I'd hate to encourage further abuse by the elites in the auditorium. Actually, I feel that that's actually a great term to describe what I think these trolls feel like, that maybe they think they are elite to everyone else and therefore they're justified in abusing others. Listen, we all have a path to walk and we all have different opinions, beliefs, practices, and knowledge levels of certain subjects. When you see or hear of someone asking questions about witchcraft and you feel like you can extend a helping hand, then do so. Why would you belittle and bash a person seeking help? I just don't understand. If you happen to see a person putting out content or something and you feel like you have an opinion or a revision or even a correction that needs to be implemented, why can't we just nicely bring it to the creator's attention so that he or she may learn something new and in a light of spiritual awakening instead of detrimental trauma because they simply were misinformed and made a mistake? It happens every day, people. The most learned and educated people in the world still make mistakes all the time. And guess what? Eventually a light shines on that mistake and it's corrected. A light shines on that mistake and it is corrected. And because of this, many others learn something new also. As a group of like-minded individuals pursuing a common knowledge and path. Why cast a shadow when you can shine a light instead? Please remember this the next time you're in a circumstance or situation where this bullying and utter nonsense is taking place. One of the reasons I bring this up, especially in paganism and witchcraft and the occult, is because it happens so much on this platform. And I've just seen it so much and I just don't understand. And I just, why are we not here helping each other? Why are we not here embracing each other? And I mean, we're all kind of like, in a sense, the underdogs in society. We don't have the time and effort to be and why waste the energy to shed this negativity towards everybody? There's no need for this behavior, and I'm thoroughly embarrassed for the elites that continue to practice this form of abuse. Again, like circling sharks awaiting a fresh victim, especially since these few people have so much more to gain by shining that light instead of casting that shadow. And as a bit of advice for the victims of these elites and trolls, just do your best to move along and ignore the drama. The fact is, the drama is what they're feeding off of. So to feed the drama is to feed the troll. Nobody else is buying into their negativity. I promise the majority of the normal seekers are on your side and sympathize with your questions, answers, statements, ideas, or beliefs. Even in my personal circumstance that I fell into, many came forward and backed my stance, and they supported me. This is gonna wrap up this episode of Witching and Working. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I apologize, it was definitely a little bit different than my normal platform, but I really feel like I needed to talk about this. I think that there's a lot to gain from this, and there's a lot for fellow seekers to get from this video, because you're gonna run into this. It's not if, it's when. You're going to definitely run into this situation. I just want you to take it with a grain of salt and just kind of maybe remember this video and move on. Have you experienced this situation of being, belittled and whatnot for asking questions or expressing opinions about witchcraft or any kind of paganism or occult? How do you feel about trolling on your social media platforms? Please remember to subscribe and ring that little bell to be reminded of future episodes. I love you guys and gals, blessed be, and see you next episode. Love you.